Now, in your handouts, you have a love supplies chart. It looks like this, human love supplies. And on the back is a research that was done and appears in the book, Healing the Child Within by Dr. James Whitfield, an MD. And I want to quickly go over that with you to show you the kinds of things that will destroy the feeling identity seed. And so everyone look at the back, and then we'll go into the childhood stages, and you have a handout for that as well. So on the back of the Love Supplies chart, you will see this one page out of his book, page 40, 41, where it talks about trauma that will hurt the little child, and the seed won't be able to grow, and the child will have to mutate. And he has here abuse, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. For most people, there's 3 kinds of abuse. And abuse means any treatment that goes against the identity of the child. So what is the identity of the child? We just spoke about so many things. Mostly, it's lovable and capable. So if you do something to smash the lovability or capability of the child, you have hurt the identity seed. So if you overprotect, that smashes the capability. If you tell someone he's a klutz or he's stupid, then that will make them so they feel inferior and inadequate and unable to be capable in the world. If you are not tender with them and you don't do empathy and listen to their feelings, it will imply that they're not lovable, they're not valuable, there's no precious value inside of them. So, abuse, look how this, you have A-B, and then further over you have use. Abuse means to use something out of its true identity, by its true identity. So, see this little folding chair here? Suppose we want to use this chair for an elephant to stand on. What will happen, Gene? Was this chair made to be used in the circus for elephants to stand on? No. So that would be abuse of the identity of the chair. So everything in life has an identity. Let's just look at a few. What's money for? It's a common denominator, so you can buy and sell and trade things. Remember in the old days when she says, well, I'll give you a living room sofa for a cow. So I get this old scrawny cow with mastitis, and she gives me a wonderful couch. That isn't right. So we decided to get money. Oh, okay. Well, the couch is worth $2,000. How much is your cow worth? Oh, we'll need 2 cows then. And see, so money's a common denominator. That's its identity. That's how it should be used. Now, if you abuse money, what do? Oh, money equals my worth. Look at this car. Look at this house. 10 times bigger than any 2 people would ever need. That's to show that I'm great. See? So we have prostituted the identity of money. Take clothes. What are clothes supposed to be for? They're supposed to keep you warm. They're supposed to hide your private parts, because everybody has private parts, just like your soul has private parts. But sick people don't know about that. They go around with their private parts hanging out because they want to buy love from sick people and have men stare at them, all the men who have never been nursed, and on and on. Right? So they use it to show their wealth. They use it, and on and on. And so let's take another thing. What is a car for? To get you around. But people are not buying cars for that. They're buying cars to show how rich they are, or how fast they can go, or how they can beat you on the freeway and shoot you with a gun if you pass them and crowd back in. Let's take sex, one of our national problems. What's it for? It's supposed to be one optional way of many to celebrate a mystically bonded, permanent soulmate, partner that was given to you by God. Partners are not exchangeable. Any genitals will not do. I never heard of such a thing. One optional way of many ways to celebrate a verbal, emotional, mystically bond, non-sexual, physical relationship that you usually only have with one person at a time. When we come to our lecture on soulmates and psychology of romantic love, people will come up and say, well, do you believe there's just one person for you? Well, there's one at a time. What's a verbal, emotional? So that's what sex is for. Along come the sick people and say, no. Sex is a love substitute. You can use it for all sorts of things. Reduce stress, escape. Be sure and look at my book, Latter-day Plague, where we talk about the causes of pornography. What's the cause of pornography? This is only about men doing pornography. It's not about gay porn. It's not about women doing it. 42% of the hits on porn are from women. But they're not doing it to turn on. They're doing it to see who they have to compete with in the circus bedroom and on and on. Right? It was so sick. And in that industry, partners are exchangeable. Any genitals that fit together will do. And sex is not to celebrate a relationship. It's called non-relationship sex. It's a love supply. And so what are these men doing this for? Because they've been rejected by mommy. The love supplies that are on your chart have not been there, and they've been rejected by girls at school, and they've been rejected by sisters, and they've been rejected by their wife. So many women will call me, my husband's doing porn. Her fire is coming out of her eyes. That guy is a sex fiend. I'm never going to blah, blah, blah. I see one of the reasons he does it. Because you're a witch. And on and on. And then you get the men in there and you have them finish sentences. I do porn because. They say it's a lot easier than dealing with her. And on and on and on. So here's sex prostituted from it. So it's called sexual abuse, right? Take your body. What is your body for? It's a learning device. It's a container for your spirit. It's a giant computer to get you through the earth school. Right? And you learn from it. From when it's 1, and 2, and 3, and 70, and 80, and 60, and 50, and 40, and... Well, what do the sick people use your body for? To buy love. To beat people up. To get buffed out, to be a sex object instead of a person, and on, see? So abuse means you take something, and there's thousands of things that we abuse, right? Take a knife. Can you fix dinner without a knife? No. Take dynamite, right? We couldn't have any roads or any gravel without dynamite. And yet you can kill people with it. So you can take all sorts of things and abuse them by their identity, see? So that's what abuse is. And abuse comes in these forms. Emotional abuse would be the feeling. It's a feeling form of abuse. It's not done by words. Emotional abuse means I have a certain feeling about something that does not match its identity. For instance, if you see a human being as a sex object, or Frank the Bank. I'm marrying this guy because he has big bucks, right? I'm marrying her because she has breast implants. That won't last very long. I'm marrying blah, 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 blah. See? This would be a feeling that people are to be used against their true identity. That kid's supposed to do my work. I went through heck to have him, and I'm not going to, right? So this feeling about something that you have every right to abuse it, that is the mother of all abuse. Feeling abuse. I will not listen to him. His feelings are stupid. Emotional abuse. Feelings are sacred. They're not stupid. And you should listen and honor them with empathy. So emotional abuse is a misunderstanding of the identity of things. That's what starts. And then what would verbal abuse be? Shut up, you idiot. That's verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is so common. Every time you say the opposite of what someone said, you have verbally abused them. Every time you say the opposite of what someone has said, you're verbally abusing them. Take your love supplies chart. Look at love supply number 1. On the left is what you should do when people are talking to you. You should listen and try and understand and say back something that will prove to them that you heard them and you understood. Verbal abuse could go over here on the right, where you do comebacks, you defend yourself, you look for evidence against what they say, you argue. Remember the little boy in James Thurber? I saw a unicorn in the garden. The mother says, a unicorn is a mythological animal. What should she say? Yes. How did it make you feel, honey? A real unicorn. Get it? No. A kid will believe in myths. So, honor the feelings. And when you say the opposite, you look for evidence. Some of us know people, or we ourselves do it. Every time someone says something to you, you look for evidence against what they're saying. That's verbal abuse. First you do it emotionally, and then you say it. Well, that isn't right. What about blah, 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 blah? And what you should do is say, oh, I understand. Huh? I see. Okay. That's honoring their feelings. Now, that's verbal abuse. What's physical abuse? It's where you hit their bodies, or pull their hair, or burn their fingers for punishment, or make them stand on one leg on a chair out in the snow. Physical abuse. You treat their sacred bodies in the wrong way. Now, one form of physical abuse, of course, is sexual abuse. Look at sexual abuse. It has 3 parts, too. Sexual abuse can be emotional, verbal, physical. What is sexual harassment on the job? Someone says, well, you sure have a nice figure. Shut up, buddy. Right? That's verbal sexual abuse. What is emotional abuse? Looking you up and down like you're a piece of meat. That's sexual abuse. Emotional sexual abuse. What's physical abuse? That's when they grab you. Right? So all forms of abuse are going on, but they all boil down to one thing. The identity of the object that's abused. What are people for? What is this job for? What is money for? What are clothes for? So that's very important as you read this thing here about how you can abuse little children. Now let's take each one quickly and you see why it's abuse. The first one is shaming. How many in here have ever been shamed? How is it done? What do people do to shame you? Teasing is shame. See it over on the right side? Teasing number 5 or 6. What does teasing? How does teasing make you feel? Hey, you sure look nice tonight. Well, how did I look yesterday? Teasings are put downs. They shame you because they don't honor your sacred identity. Yes?
Another form of shaming is comparing you with others.
Right. Why aren't you like your brother? How does it make you feel? Well, why can't I be myself? So, shaming. Bradshaw felt this was so important, he wrote a whole book called Shame-Based Behavior. Shame. That's underlying most of the poison for the seed. Shame. Degrading, same thing, isn't it? Criticizing. It's one of the three big wounds. Criticism wound, controlling wound, and abandonment wound. We're going to be talking about those. Stifling means you can't be a surgeon, you're a girl, you should be a nurse. It's called gender stereotypes. Laughing at people, belittling, right? Manipulating, tricking. What's wrong with manipulating? It's controlling, and it means the person doesn't have the freedom to choose. Tricking, hurting, belittling, patronizing. That's where the mother gives in order to get, or the father. Patronizing. Give me a hug. You should never ask a little kid for a hug. Say, I would like to give you a hug. Don't take from children. You're supposed to be the giver, not the taker. Inflicting fear. What's wrong with fear? Healthy people should have faith, not fear. And how do parents inflict fear? What does a worrywart mother teach a child? To be afraid of the universe. Think of all the things that are sick that come under the classification of fear. Anxiety attacks, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic attacks, phobias, depression. No wonder Jesus said, fear not, doubt not. My peace I give unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. That's out of the New Testament. He knew that fear would kill everybody. Controlling too much. What's wrong with controlling too much? It stops the child from knowing how capable she is. Trial and error teaches people what they can do. That little kid on the monkey bars last night, he fell down, he learned. Trial and error. Should you stop a child? If you went around to a little toddler who's just learning to walk, and every time it was going to fall, you reached out and stopped it from falling, what would happen? It never learned to walk. You gotta. No pain, no gain. Withdrawing, that means withdrawing yourself from love. You're no good. Not taking the child seriously. I know you want this. It'll be really fun. We won't be able to do that today, but maybe tomorrow. So you have the blend of tenderness and power. You listen. You combine love supply number 1 with love supply number 6 on your love supplies chart. Misleading, that's lying. Do you have any money, Mommy? No. So say, I have tons of money, but I'm not going to give it to you because it'll make you weak. You should earn your own, honey. Did you do your chore this morning? Where's the money? Breaking promises? Oh, that's a big one. Broken promises. How many have ever lived with broken promises? Oh, we'll do it tomorrow, and they never do. Oh, we'll fix your bike tomorrow. We'll never. Making vague demands, like telling the kid, go turn off the water. You ever had that experience? The kid doesn't know that righty is tighty and lefty is loosey. You girls know that? Turn it to the right, and it closes. It shuts. Turn it to the left, it opens. It's loose, and water comes through. I remember a parent screaming and yelling at a little kid, you're trying to flood me. The kid doesn't know what to do. They run in the house. The water's going all over the garden. The seeds are... He never sat down with the kid and said, honey, if you're turning to the right, it'll shut down. If you're turning to the left, he just expects him to know. Vague demands. You go do this. Okay, Daddy, don't hit me. And the kid doesn't know how to do it. Huh? Making light or minimizing feelings and wants, responding inconsistently. Yeah, that's a big one. I had a patient tell me, or 1,000 patients tell me, I didn't know if she was going to kiss me or slap me. A mommy, right? Saying you shouldn't feel such and such. You should be more like your brother. If only you were better or different. You should be better or different. Okay, up on the right, humiliating, inflicting guilt. What's guilt? It says, guilt says, I don't love you because you did this. Because of a mistake or something like that, you lose worth. That's guilt. Fear that I won't be loved. Guilt. Disgracing, joking about, teasing. Those are shame-based. Deceiving, betraying, being cruel and inhuman punishment. He can't love himself. He can't love his body. Intimidating, threatening, overpowering, bullying. Oh, let's talk about bullying.